Okay, George R. R. Martin has been doing a lot of not a blogging of late, and yes, he is getting a lot of writing done. So I just covered a not a blog post, I think like a few days ago, and then George posted another not a blog entry and once more raved about House of the Dragon, but also mentioned Winds of Winter, so there's something. Yeah, I'm gonna share his not a blog post, and I think once you hear everything he's doing, there's gonna be some people that aren't happy with him. So first, George updated us again that showrunners Ryan Condal and Miguel for House of the Dragon, they are just wonderful, fantastic, he loves them so much. But he also really wants us to toast to the writers. So here are those bits. George voice.
There's another group of contributors, equally important, whose names you may not know either, but you should. Without them, there would be no show. If there was, it would certainly not be as good as I think House is going to be. Here are the folks I'm talking about. Yes, it's the writers. House of the Dragon is based on my novellas The Princess and the Queen and The Rogue Prince and other materials from Targaryen history, Fire and Blood. But Fire and Blood is an imaginary history, not a traditional novel. To turn it into a television series requires a lot more work than adapting a novel or a short story. The screenwriters need to make history come alive. Ryan Condal assembled a pretty amazing team to do just that. The first season of House is now wrapped, and in large part thanks to the talents of our scribes. So please raise your glasses and toast our writers. He also shared how much he loved that the writers knew his lore and how much they loved talking about dragons. So that's a good sign, because do you remember how HBO for certain Game of Thrones spin-offs didn't require people to know the lore, and it just kind of killed me a little bit inside. Now, the next part, George updated us on what he's been doing, and he's doing a lot, dude. Once more George voice. And me, you ask? No, I did not write a script for the first season of House. Part of me would have loved to, but I have been kinda busy with Winds of Winter, the other Throne successor shows, various Wild Cards books, the Wild Cards TV pilot for Peacock, and UCP Dark Winds for AMC, Road Marks for HBO, Night of the Cooters, and a couple other really cool Howard Waldrop projects, and, well, yeah, okay, I bought a railroad, never mind. I did co-create the series with Ryan and help give it its shape, and he and I have been in constant contact ever since. I love that he starts the what I've been doing by basically saying, guys, I didn't write anything for House of the Dragon. I swear, I've been working on Winds of Winter. Don't come after me. But yeah, he goes, I'm working on Winds of Winter, and then he lists a million other projects he's also working on. George, you silly bitch. Oh yeah, and Ryan and George are buddies. They like to text to each other, so if you're worried about House of the Dragon and lore, Ryan and George are like BFFs about it. Something that really concerns me, and I mentioned this in the last news video, George wrote, hey, hoping for House of Dragon Season 2, fingers crossed, and it's still... Why wouldn't that automatically be greenlit? Like, the Dance of the Dragons, there's no way in House of the Dragon they're gonna cover all of the war, or maybe they're just gonna get to the beginning of it. How stupid would that be to have all of that build up and then nothing? HBO does like to blue ball us though, so that's what they're doing, isn't it? It comes out years later that George, D&D, and HBO were all working together to just torment Game of Thrones fans as much as they could. Sorry for the constant George updates. I am going to do more than Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire news. I swears. Like, subscribe, come back for more sci-fi fantasy.